Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahabushai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'm going to start it off in Revelation 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword, and this is symbolic for Esau Edom, so-called white man, coming into power, with this final rulership, beginning with the Renaissance or the rebirth of that Roman way back into the world. And in the scriptures, horses can represent power and, as it says in Genesis 25 and 25, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And there went out another horse that was red. And, these Edomites aren't white. White and black are just social constructs to create a narrative for Edomite supremacy. Edomites are actually red because they lack what? Melanin in their skin. Their blood shoots forth through it. Think of the term redneck. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword, and the sword was one of Esau's blessings, as pursuant to Genesis 27. I'm going to start at 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And this is after Jacob, the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel, who are known as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today, supplanted, the blessing from Esau. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And with Esau's final rulership, the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. Esau is in control of what? The major resource trades out here. Damn near every place you go to, you find the Edomite there. And what with the dew of heaven? He's got those satellites and those literal dews, those directed energy WEAPONSs up there. And how did he gain the fatness of the earth in the dew of heaven from above? And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Esau gained control of the planet through his sword, his weaponry, which, from colonization all the way up until today, these different Edomite nations have used their military prowess to what? Grape, rob, and murder these different nations out here. Going back, that they should take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. These Edomites killing each other for supremacy, like in World War I, World War II, and what? These other nations killing each other through Esau's meddling in their affairs, and especially Esau supplying weaponry unto them, swords, which is what we'll be dealing with in this video. This is a clip from Geopolitical Economy Report's YouTube channel titled Profiting from War. USA is world's #1 arms dealer, exporting 7 times more weapons than China and 5 times more than Russia. So right here, this shows that what? Esau is that red horse that great sword was given unto. Because the USA, which is an Edomite-run country, and is Esau's chief power structure right now, is what? The top weapons exporter. And when you look at America's history, as it's going to go into this clip, over 200 and something wars America has been involved in, since its inception. And then what? America has a lot of these covert operations where they overthrow leaders, sovereign leaders, and set up puppets so that they're allowed to further grape that nation of its resources and push their destructive ideologies onto them, like democracy, capitalism, feminism, the alphabet agenda, etc., etc. But I'm gonna play about the first six minutes or so of this clip, and this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
If you listen to Western media outlets and Western politicians, they constantly claim that China is supposedly a threat to the world because it's expanding its military spending. In fact, US President Donald Trump has repeatedly fear-mongered about China. This is a clip from his first term as president back in 2019, where he claimed that China is a threat to the world.
Obviously, China is a threat to the world in a sense because they're building a military faster than anybody.
Now, Trump's claim that China is supposedly building up its military faster than anyone is ridiculous, considering that the United States spends more on its military than the next 10 largest military spenders in the world combined. And every single year, the US is expanding its military budget, which is approaching $1 trillion per year. Now,
and how does the US gain so much power? Through military adventurism abroad, whether direct military or what, those covert operations. America also uses something called NGOs, or non-governmental organizations, to go into these different countries and push their agenda. A book that if you sincere Akim and Akwat that haven't read before should read is Confessions of an Economic Hitman, which dealt with a Edomite who worked for these different corporations out here, who, if there were resources in a particular third world country they wanted, they would send him, and first he would go in and try to give them the bag. Look, we'll set up you and your family for generations if you allow these U.S. corporations to come in and set up shop, of course at the disadvantage, to the average citizen. And if that didn't work, then they would send in something called the Jackals, which were CIA assassins to try to take out that leader. BOMBINGSs on planes or in cars, long distance shooters, you name it. And if that didn't work, then the final option, the Leviathan Force, which was the United States military that would go in like they did with Iraq and just completely destroy that country, bomb it back to the Stone Ages. Hey, that red horse with that great sword to take peace from the earth.
to be fair, there are people who point out that there genuinely is a lot of fraud and corruption that goes on in the US military, and the Pentagon has failed every single audit that it has attempted. And the US military has also admitted that it can't even account for trillions of dollars of its own assets. So in that sense, it is fair to say that just because the US plows trillions of dollars into the military doesn't mean that it has the best, most effective military. But then there's also the simple fact that China has not fought a war since 1979. Meanwhile, the US government has been constantly at war for hundreds of years. In fact, according to official US government data, the US military was involved in 251 foreign interventions just from 1991 until 2022. Or, according to official US government data, the US military was involved in 469 foreign interventions between 1798 and 2022. The US military has intervened in the vast majority of countries on Earth. And yet again, China has not.
Hey, and that's beautiful that what he put those or that map put those countries that the US government intervened in red. That red horse that took peace from the earth. And what? How did Esau gain the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven? By that sword. This is Jeremiah 50:23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Because that's going to be the ultimate, conclusion of America, is it's going to go into World War III and ultimately be destroyed by nuclear missiles. But as it said here, Babylon, Babylon the Great, which is the biblical name for the U.S., is known as the hammer of the whole earth. And from 250 to 400 foreign interventions in damn near the entire planet, going in there and just completely wrecking shop. Hey, that's what a hammer does if every issue looks like a nail.
Not fought a war since 1979 in 46 years. So it's pretty obvious that when US politicians accuse China of being a so-called threat to the world, it is deeply hypocritical. But today I want to talk about another related issue, which is how the US not only has waged war around the world, but it has also fueled foreign wars through the US military-industrial complex, flooding the planet with weapons, with missiles and bombs and ammunition and tanks. In fact, the United States is by far the top arms dealer on Earth. In the past 5 years, the US was responsible for 43% of all weapons exports on Earth. The US exported over 7 times more weapons than China and over 5 times more weapons than Russia.
And hey, that perfectly makes sense, because what? Esau's blessing was the sword. He goes for what he knows. He used his sword, to gain power. So what? He sees that as the ultimate form of power, so he sells his sword to different nations so that they can get it in. And then on top of that, Esau's behind the scenes, manipulating a lot of these countries to what? Foment these wars so that, hey, we need weapons to fight it. Let's go to the top export. Let's go to the top artificer of weapons. Esau Edom, especially in America. Again, he would take peace from the earth with that great sword, that they should kill one another. Not just these Edomite nations going to war against each other, but these other heathens going to war against each other, and using some of Esau's blessing to do so.
Yet we're led to believe by Western media outlets and Western politicians that China and Russia are the ones supposedly threatening the world, whereas the US is the one flooding the world with weapons and fueling conflicts everywhere you look. This is according to data that was published in March by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, which is the world's leading organization tracking the global arms industry and world military spending. They found that the United States was by far the world's largest exporter of weapons, responsible for transferring 43% of all of the weapons exported from 2020 until 2024. In second place was France at 9.6%, and third place was Russia at 7.8%.
So the top weapon exporters in the first 3 slots are who? All Edomite nations.
Fourth place was China at 5.9%. In fifth place was Germany at 5.6%. In sixth place was Italy at 4.8%. In seventh place was the United Kingdom at 3.6%. In eighth place was Israel at 3.1%. In ninth place was Spain at 3%. And in 10th place was South Korea at 2.2%.
So 8 out of the 10 weapons exporters in the world are Edomite nations.
The journalist Stephen Semler pointed out that if you use this data, you can see that the United States exports more weapons than the next 7 largest arms exporting countries combined. Stephen Semler does a lot of good data-oriented journalism and creates some really good charts. I will link to his Substack in the description below. But what's also interesting and noteworthy is to see how these weapons exports have evolved in the past 5 years. You can see that between 2020 and 2024, US weapons exports increased by 21%, and France's arms exports increased by 11%, but Russia's weapons exports actually fell by 64% in the past 5 years, and China's arms exports also decreased by 5.4%. What really sticks out from this data is that Italy has seen a massive increase in its weapons exports. In the past 5 years, Italy's weapons exports have increased by...
And Italy, though you got a lot of, Israelite foreigners living in Italy, hey, Italy is a part of the EU and NATO, the 10 horns and the beast. Same as Germany, same as the UK, same as France.
138%. And one of the main reasons for that is that Italy became one of the top providers of weapons to Israel, especially as it was brutally bombing Gaza. Of course, the U.S. is by far the largest supplier of weapons to Israel, representing 66% of weapons that Israel gets. Germany is the second biggest, supplying 30% of Israel's weapons imports. But Italy is the third biggest at 5%. Now, as for the biggest importers...
Now I'm going to jump to the 12-minute and 38-second mark.
But unfortunately, this is the world that the U.S. government is creating. A world of war, of conflict, of trillions of dollars going down the drain to spend on the military, not on social services, not on...
This is the world that the U.S. has created. A war of conflict, war, destruction, death, and misery. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. But that's that for that clip. Now I'm going to read this quote from Edomite Smedley Butler, who is a United States Marine Corps Major General. War is a racket. It always has been. I spent 33 years and 4 months in active military service, and during that period, I spent most of my time as a high-class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street and the bankers. In short, I was a racketeer, a gangster for capitalism, corporatism. I helped make Mexico and especially Tampico safe for American oil interests in 1914. I helped make Haiti and Cuba a decent place for the National City Bank boys to collect revenues in. I helped in the graping of half a dozen Central American republics for the benefit of Wall Street. I helped purify Nicaragua for the International Banking House of Brown Brothers in 1902 to 1912. I brought light to the Dominican Republic for the American sugar interests in 1916. I helped make Honduras right for the American fruit companies in 1903. In China in 1927, I helped see to it that Standard Oil, owned by the Rockefellers, went on its way unmolested. Looking back on it, I might have given Al Capone a few hints. The best he could do was operate to his racket in 3 districts. I operated on 3 continents. The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. The fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven shall be thine, and you shall get it by your sword. But now I'm going to close it out in Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And right now, under Esau's rulership, we can see the people are mourning, on a health level, on a mental level, and especially in these countries where Esau, Edom rages these covert or overt wars. But we are quickly coming to the end of Esau, Edom's wicked rulership, and the rightful heirs of rulership are about to be put back into place. The children of Israel, beginning with the elect, and the laws, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures are going to be the law of the land. And as it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people will rejoice, shall rejoice. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere, Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. I'm Slakia. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abba Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.